Speaking about sacrificing, there was also another clash in the parliament between the representatives of the Italian five-star movement, which is one of the more critical of Ukraine in the parliament, where somebody had stated that it's better to live as a slave or to live on your knees than being dead. So therefore, Ukraine should not continue to fight against Russia. And Meloni went up and had a speech where she was saying, this is not how you should live your life. You need to have values that you're fighting for. And she brought up the struggle against the mafia in Italy, with all the prosecutors and representatives of the state who were willing to risk their lives or even sacrifice their lives as Falcone and Borsellino, these famous prosecutors. This seems to be an attitude that Meloni has in general, that for some things she's very strong on values, that you have to have certain virtues, you have to fight for what you believe in. Is this the side that you know her as well from, that she is somebody who has these ideals that she's willing to fight for?
Oh yeah, totally. That's why she didn't hesitate a single second to support Ukraine. She truly believes that every nations and the people should and have the right to live their lives and to protect themselves, you know. And especially in this moment, you cannot let Russia take advantage, overcome like Ukraine. But just because, you know, tomorrow morning you might wake up and see that someone that is more powerful than you, it just took over your house or your private property or even, you know, district or country, and that's something that cannot happen. She really wants to enforce and reaffirm the international law and the values that are at the ground level of that.
This is something that she has been saying from day one when it comes to Ukraine, that it's a battle for national sovereignty, that there is a clear aggressor and a clear victim. And in this case, Ukraine is fighting for its survival as a nation state with territorial integrity and the internationally recognized borders. So I believe that her defense of Italy seems to be motivated from her general convictions about countries being independent. And this is another issue that right now in the EU is being debated. What do you think, Giorgia Meloni, what stance will she take on where Europe should go in the future?
She always says this very, very famous statement, claim, Europe should do less and do it better. I would say that she would love to have a Europe closer to the citizens, but not closer in the way that Europe should tell you how to live your life, you know, to impose an ideology, to impose a scheme on your life. Also, as an international secretary of the Youth Wing, I do believe that we should fight to have a Europe that is more focused on their values. Values means to focus and actually discover what the roots are, really are. Because if we think about the Europe as the history that it has, it was from a community that was actually that its purpose was to take to focus on the energetic and raw materials.
The coal and steel union.
Exactly.
Initially.
And look how it ended up. This European Union wasn't able to manage any crisis that we lived. The economic crisis, the refugees, the pandemic crisis, or right now with the energetic crisis. So we really need to, I mean, I don't have the answer. What I'm saying, just we should start a process in order to see and to listen what the people, what the Europeans really believe Europe is. And so once we know what are our common grounds, start building from that. I always say that it's our generation that should take care of promoting European Union and building the new one, the new European Union, the one that fits better the interest of the population. I do say so because we lived in an era where everything is way closer than ever. We can reach any place in Europe or in the world. You know, I'm in Poland at the moment, and it takes just a couple hours to get here. And you can have your best friend from another country today and reach him in a day and spend the weekend with him and go back for the working week again. So that's why I really believe that we should listen more to the youth in this phase in order to create a new Europe that is closer to our interests, to our needs.
When it comes to the youth, and we're looking about the Italian youth and not maybe the full European picture, Italy has been in a difficult position now for, 20, 25 years with economic stagnation. Basically, maybe there hasn't been a huge economic crisis, but economic growth has been very low. And it seems that many young Italians feel that their parents' generation actually had an easier life than maybe they have today, that it was easier to buy a house, to form a family. Also, the birth rate in Italy is very low. What do you feel, as yourself being a young Italian, what is the general atmosphere among young Italians? What type of change do they want to see?
Because it was really a main topic of the electoral campaign. First of all, there is a mistrust of the institutions and the government. There was nothing giving them some hope to stay in Italy. At least right now we have a government that tells you to stay in Italy, invest in Italy, because we are going to grow up again. We are going to have policies that want to help you to stay in Italy, to develop a family, to create a family, and hopefully give birth to children. The other thing is the unemployment rate. It was another huge topic of the electoral campaign. If I'm not mistaken, it was about 9% last year, and right now it dropped by 1 or 2 points. Of course, I don't want to say that it was all the merit of Giorgia Meloni, but but the mentality changed, and we saw. You said that economic wasn't rising for years in Italy, and the last month, for the first time in probably the last decade, Italy did better than France and Germany. That was huge. Even if you couldn't touch the difference, you could feel it. That's what the government is doing. That's what we want to do. That's why every day we wake up and we listen to them. We engage with them in order to create, let's say, the environment that can, if not help, at least not create problems to them, and try to make them believe that a better Italy is possible, that a better environment is possible, and that they can create the life that they want here.
I don't think many people know how many young Italians have either moved from one part of Italy to another, such as from southern Italy, from Sicily, from Campania, up to the north, or even moved further to Germany, to England, to other countries in the EU. That there has been a certain brain drain of many ambitious young Italians that over the last 10, 15 years have been moving. Is this a topic that is often brought up in Italy, that, for example, the grandparents, they barely get to see their grandchildren because they live in different countries simply, or different parts of the country?
The percentage of the youth that are not in education or training or employed, it's like 1/3 of the population. And that's why I keep talking about the feeling to get involved and to see that you can do something for yourself and for the society. That's something that a law cannot solve. That's something that economics cannot solve. It's probably something that politics can.
When it comes to the youth, there is also another problem with criminality. There is this phrase that is used, the so-called baby gangs. I saw some videos from this summer. I don't remember if it was Lake Como or Lake Garda, but all of a sudden these gangs of people, sometimes 100 or even more, they use some social media, some TikTok or something else to announce that they are going to certain places and they create problems. Is this youth criminality a problem that has become worse in recent years?
Values, that it was something that the families were giving to the children. It's something that maybe it's missing at this moment, at least for some of them. We should probably focus on that, on the path that they're following at school, or especially after school, where they were like center the way that actually I joined when I was a kid, when I was a boy, and where you were sharing evenings together, afternoons together, studying, playing, but in a safe environment. Right now, with the social medias and the crazy stuff that we see on them, they I don't know if they want to replicate them, that they want to try to be like them or stupid as them, but it's something that we should probably deal with as soon as possible. The youth immigrants, we should really focus on get them integrated into society. Too many times we see like classrooms that are full of them and they cannot really integrate in the society. That's why also Giorgia Meloni, she is pushing to have them distributed in Europe.
Even though Meloni has good relations with the Polish government, as they are both in the same political family in the European Parliament, the ECR party, but when it comes to migration, here is a difference that they had recently. As we mentioned before, the EU has started to work on this new migration system for the EU, and the Poles were saying that they voted against it because they wanted the migrants to be stopped outside of the EU, and there they could see whether their asylum claims have any merit or not. But Meloni, who knows that Italy right now is under great pressure, she went for this solution, as you mentioned, that they should be distributed in the European Union. Do you think that there could be any form of solution, because this migration system they're still working on it, probably by next spring they will come up with the final version. Do you think that there could be any change in the Italian position, that the Poles might be able to influence them somehow in joining this Polish-Hungarian position of trying to keep them out of the EU before we know that they have a valid asylum claim?
Well, I want to be optimistic, and I want to say that after the conference that has been held in Rome, it was the conference on the economic development and migration, if I'm not mistaken, people understood that we need to see the macro picture again, once again. I totally feel, the positions of Poland or Hungary, etc. But I do also think that it's just a step. I don't think it's going to be the main solution. It's going to be a step in a path. And she's also said that, the conference was just the beginning of a process that she loved to call like the Rome process.
And a final question, we have discussed quite a lot about the Italian youth and their situation. If you had a message that you could send to young Italians here, what do you think they should do to stay in Italy in the future? Where should Italy go?
Our history tells us about genius people that build this great nation, and we should probably try to be just a bit more fearless and just to try to make it happen. Because if you try, if you take the first step, you will also find the motivation to keep going, and magic can happen.
So a lot of people might not know, but Italy in the 1950s and 1960s had their own little economic miracle, and the destruction from the Second World War was very quickly replaced by a very well-developing fashion industry, automobile industry. So you say that maybe we should take some inspiration from the grandparents as well.
Exactly, totally. We all have our example in our families. Try to discover them, because probably someone don't even know about their families, what they did. Because sometimes it might seem something small, even buying a house. But at this moment, when the youth cannot afford to buy not even an apartment, then you will understand what they did, how great is what they did.
Well, we keep our fingers crossed for a good future for the Italian youth, and we hope to see you here again with us.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much.